Is debt good for your business? If you're starting off, if you're in business, you might always be asking yourself this question. Is it good? Is it bad? How do I use it? I'm just stressed because I don't know what to do. If that's how you feel, this is the video for you. Before we get into that, my name is Jacob Godar. If you've never met me, I run a landscape company in Illinois and in Florida. I have used debt extensively. I have paid a lot of things down and went out and used more. And I have a lot of background in using leverage, if you want to say it a different way. I want to share everything that I have learned over the years, some of the good, some of the bad, some of the indifferent, to help you grow your company, to help you understand a little bit and really get just the basis so you go out and potentially make a good decision with your money, with your finances, with your credit if you're going to get debt, so you don't end up in some kind of problem. So let's get right into this. First of all, yes, debt can be great for a business. It can allow you to invest. It can allow you to expand. It can allow you to do things you couldn't otherwise do without debt. And that's the reason people take on debt. And they look at the lost opportunity of if I didn't go buy this thing with debt, equipment, shop, what would be the potential loss of revenue I could have versus the stress of the debt or the payments on the debt? It's really a business decision that gets made of whether it makes sense or not to use. For me, a ton of times it has made sense to use. We've borrowed for mowers, we've had lines of credit, we've borrowed for equipment. Pretty much anything that you could borrow for, we've done some kind of borrowing because it's been on a credit card. I don't do silly things. Like I don't put stuff on a credit card and pay a huge interest rate. If we're going to leave money on something that's like a credit card, we'd use a line of credit because it's a much lower credit score. I mean, our line of credit right now is cheaper than you can go out and buy a new truck with commercial lending on. So there's a lot of different tools out there, right? And some in business, some of the tools that I think are the best are vehicle loans, equipment loans, and lines of credit. Lines of credit are scarier and you need to be more careful with, and the asset loans are much more safe because there's an asset backing them. Secondly, about debt, it needs to be managed really, really well. It's not so hard to manage a piece of equipment, knowing that you need to make the payments on it, knowing that it needs to go out there and it needs to be getting used. Like really with a piece of equipment, you just don't want to buy something, borrow money on it, and be something that's not going to get utilized. You want to borrow and then go out every day and then earn its payment and much, much more. And that's what borrowing allows you to go do. Now, the things that need to be managed much, much closer is if you ever use some kind of funds really just for working capital, meaning, hey, we're gonna have a little lull in work and we have a line of credit to cover some payroll or to cover this or to cover that. There's nothing backing that if the worst case was to happen or if the bank was to call the loan on you and you needed to go pay it right now. And lines of credit are basically just like an amount of money that's available to you at the bank. And say if it's $100,000, you could walk in today, take $1,000. You could walk in tomorrow and take $10,000. You could walk in the next day and take $20,000 until you got up to your limit. And the idea with this is it's a revolving line of credit where every year you need to at least pay it all the way down and then you can do the whole thing again. And I love lines of credit for business because they just give you some additional cushion on top of your cash. And I think that everyone should go out and get a line of credit while things are good. Doesn't mean you have to use a dime of it. It just is more insulation that if things go bad, that there's more net, there's more room for that to get taken care of, right? Some would say, oh, it's just more room for you to get deeper in the hole. If you know that you're gonna do anything to keep your business going, it's just more room for you to expand or push when times get a little more hard. But it takes the most management because you don't want to overspend on the line of credit. There is nothing backing that. If everything goes to shit, now you owe this and there's nothing to sell. It's very easy to spend it on labor. It's easy to spend it on marketing. It's easy to spend it on this and just go, 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 go. So you have to be 100 times more diligent if what you're spending money on does bring value to the company or if it's just you're spending money for the sake of spending money. And this is just money management overall. And unfortunately, when people get into business, people in the world have not been educated about finance much. It's not something that really gets taught in school. So it's very easy in a world of spend on your credit card if you don't have it, borrow, borrow, borrow. If you don't have it, to end up buying things that are not actually assets to your company, that are truly liabilities to your company, and they cause more bad than good. And this is where the issue comes in with debt and if you use it. If you end up buying a lot of liabilities and not assets, now all of a sudden you have spent money that you shouldn't have spent and the problems just start compounding from there. Now finally, for the new business owner, I would not suggest anything but the minimum amount of asset debt you would have to have. Meaning if I need to go out and buy a mower, I would go buy one with a loan. don't care. There's a huge difference between the person who goes out and buys one mower. I bought one mower, and I think the first mower I paid cash for. Second mower was a bigger mower, so I got a loan on it, and like $5,000-$6,000. There's a big difference between me just getting that one mower because it's exactly what I needed, and then the person that's like, oh, mowers are cool. I need a 52 on my trailer, a 72 if the lawn's big, and a 36 if the lawn's tiny. Don't forget about the push mower. Like, I see people load these trailers up, or I see people's fleet, and they've got 2 people that are employed at the company, and they've got more machinery than I have on 4 crews. Maybe not 4 crews, maybe 2 or 3 crews. People get really, really excited about equipment, and that's where debt becomes a problem. You get excited about equipment, debt allows you to buy it, your business does not justify you having that, and now you've got more payments than income, and all of a sudden when those two come together, you've got a huge fucking problem. In a new business, I am pro buying exactly what you need and only what you need, and not caring. Like, if you think equipment's cool, so you go buy equipment, you got a huge problem. You should not borrow any money because you'll make bad emotional decisions based off of, that's some cool metal that I really want. That is okay, buy the minimal. The thing that I would not do in new business is, go and borrow or push really, really hard on things that there's nothing backing, there's no asset backing. So lines of credit, I still think if you've got the business, a new business is probably not gonna be able to get one anyway. You've got to have a couple years in business. Huge credit card bills or things like, I am just extremely cautious when you're starting out. Because one, you don't know if you're gonna like it. You just don't know anything yet. You might decide that you hate the business really soon. You might decide that, hey, I wanna go in a different direction. And you can't take away what you spend on the credit card over things that equate to air, marketing, clothes, the branding of your business, all these things that you thought were cool that you do need to do some of, but you need to really keep things as tight as possible. Because when you're new in business, that first year, that first 2 years are a good learning period. Because ultimately what can happen very, very easily, even in a seasoned business, is you can throw good money at bad ideas. And when you don't have much and you're starting off and you're using credit, all of a sudden that becomes a compounding effect of problems that your business doesn't need right when it's getting going. Your business is a fragile little egg anyway. And then you pour on these stressful problems that just crack the egg and might break it, and you might not end up with an omelet. So be very cautious. Minimal amounts of things, just what we have to buy, just what we have to spend. Although there are parts of this where I know, like marketing, if I could connect with somebody really good at marketing and they had good references and good reviews, I would spend money that I don't have to get things going. I just don't know that I would do it at the very beginning, because if it's just one person, you're starting your first ever business, it doesn't take much work to keep you busy, or you and a second person. One crew is so easy to keep busy doing landscaping and lawn care and whatever the case may be. Now when you get a little bit of time in it, you spend more and more money on more and more things where it's like, I gotta do it to get it, even though I need the money to you get what I'm saying. When you're starting business, be extremely cautious. As you get time in business and you pay attention to your finances, you pay attention to what you borrow, you can take on more and more and more, and you start throwing money at things that are gonna produce, knowing that they're gonna produce because you have experience in them producing in the past. I hope this video has helped you. If this video has helped broaden your thought process about debt, make sure you like it, you subscribe, and you share this with someone else that it would help their company grow. And if you want to learn more from me and from a bunch of other cool people and an amazing group, join GROW Comm. That's my coaching group. It is open once a quarter. Right now it's currently closed. It's going to be open next quarter sometime. You can go to jacobgodar.com, get on the waiting list, and you can come into a cool community where we do coaching calls every week. We talk about everybody's problems. We have templates, we have documents, we have everything to really help you expand based off of the stuff we've used in our business to take us from zero to multi-million-dollar locations. If that interests you, check that out as well, jacobgodar.com. Can't wait to see you on the next video.